My book coming out soon is called Good Faith Politics, and I kind of wanted to start a conversation about um, one of my favorite sections of the book called "The Honorable Machiavellian," and it's in the chapter "Welcome to the Jungle." And Machiavellian, people Machiavellianism is a term that refers to one of the dark triad personality traits of like psychopathy, again, Machiavellianism. But I'm not sure that the third one is like narcissism or something else.
Cynicism or
But yeah, so it's it's a term, but it's based on an actual person, Niccolo Machiavelli. He was an Italian
absolutely.
statesman um, who wrote about his most famous book was called The Prince, and it was a book about how to be the ideal leader. And what made it so popular was its emphasis and unabashedly honest take on an amoral um, perspective towards leadership, and then like amoral, not being immoral. And it's not like about being pure evil. I think a lot of people, they may think that, oh well, you think psychopathy and Machiavelli, you think evil. It's not evil. It's just not bound by morality, and it's
Right.
very transactional, and it's a lot about power and remaining in power, and that's the whole point of the book. Is like, hey, if you want to be, and then this goal is for like leaders. Like this is because he's been around in his career. He had been around leaders of nations and been been like in the room when they had wars and conflicts and stuff, and he was like, I have this experience that very few people have, and I know what makes a leader successful and not successful. um, so he wanted to kind of write his book The Prince to to share that. So yeah, so we covered Machiavellianism, and it's an amoral philosophy. And in my book, I have the section is titled "The Honorable Machiavellian," um, because, and then that's supposedly an oxymoron, right? Because Machiavellians aren't supposed to really care about honor. But my point about it is that even though his book is incredibly dark and it's amoral, and when you hear the term Machiavellianism, you want to run from it the same way that you want to run from something like psychopathy. Just because it's not tasteful doesn't mean it's not effective. And just because normal people are turned off by Machiavellianism doesn't mean that there aren't Machiavellian people and leaders in the world. And the reason I say the honorable Machiavellian is when you are dealing with someone who is amoral, who is, a Machiavellian actor, then understanding Machiavellianism is going to be useful, right? Like, thinking in terms of norms and rules and best practices when you're dealing with someone who's just thinking about power and how can you stop me, right? Like, you're going to be at a disadvantage unless you really look at the world in the same cold, calculated way they do in order to kind of predict their moves and understand that if you're playing a clean game against someone who's playing dirty, the advantage is to the person that's playing dirty. And so it's like the honorable Machiavellian is like it's having the ability to see the world through that very cynical and amoral lens that may make a normal person uncomfortable, but to do that in a way to give you insight into the reality of the situation where you are dealing with someone um, who is hostile. And this is something that I know you say a lot, is like it's the Wild West. Like there's systems and there's laws and everything, and those exist, but at the end of the day, there is force, and there are bad actors, and there's nuclear weapons, and there's armies, and those real things can come in and shake up your your belief in those systems.